Hello and welcome to Nintendo Agenda. I've been wanting to make these videos more often as we head towards E3, and I was getting stuck on the Nintendo Online video that I was thinking about making. But really, the Nintendo Online stuff is a big thing to tackle, so I'm just going to talk about just voice chat in this, and I was going to go through a history of the voice chat with like Nintendo, how it started with back on the Nintendo DS, the Wi-Fi connection. That's old school. We had first game to support voice chat was Metroid Prime Hunters. And I mean, if they could do it back then, why can't they do it now? Then we can go through the whole history of all of that, but there's better people, or there's people who can better explain this online on YouTube, on the history of things. Nintendo has obviously treated all of this throughout the years as like an experiment almost, and Nintendo, let's trademark this. It's the Nintendo way. I am not here to crap on them. I am not here to be a apologist for them either. I don't agree with some of the things that they do, especially when it comes to the online stuff. But I understand why they do it. They're a very Japanese company, and they're very Japanese centric. That's one of the big problems. And another big problem is that since they're Japanese, they really rein in the other worldwide branches of Nintendo to one. I mean, if you look at the history of what happened with Sega and their problems with Nintendo Europe versus America versus Japan, and the same thing with NEC when they did the PC Engine and TurboGrafx. This is a whole other topic. I'm already off topic, but those companies had less control over what was going on in other regions. Nintendo is very controlling from the homeland. So therefore, that influences their online to the point of I don't even know how to say it. Basically, any kind of input America would give, it just wouldn't even get through to them. And it's not because of lack of communication. It's not because NCL is not open. It's just NCL has like a Bible in their mind of standards. And I think the number one standard for their online practices is that they don't want to be liable for any problems. Because Nintendo is such a, you can call them kiddie, you can call them family friendly, whatever you want to call them, they are focused on family. And because of that, there is the issue of even as something as simple as when they had PictoChat on Nintendo DS, and something as simple as although it was kind of complex in some ways, Miiverse on Wii U, there was still problems with pedo bears on there, and the whole idea that Nintendo has had was if a third-party company wants to do it their way, then they're liable. They can go ahead and do that. I mean, even back in the GameCube days, online was available, but who did it? Only Sega did it with Phantasy Star Online, and therefore it was all them that had to do it. With the Wii, even though it was super popular and Nintendo did do more online stuff, a lot of the fun stuff for Nintendo Online, like voice chat and direct communication, and interacting with not just your friends with friend codes, but like strangers, just new people that you meet from Nintendo, from playing video games with them online. Now that's the way it is with every other company. With Xbox Live and with PC and everything else, you meet total strangers. Nintendo, I think that's their number one problem. They don't want little kids meeting total strangers. It's one thing if they meet them outside of Nintendo's scope. That's what the whole idea of friend codes is. They have to know you outside of Nintendo, whether they met on YouTube, whether they met online, or whether they met in person. They could be complete strangers, but they were communicating outside of Nintendo's area of liability. And so therefore, when you look at it from that point of view, you go, oh, okay, that's why it's so. It's not that Nintendo can't do it technically or technologically. They can. It's just they choose not to, because again of the liability concerns and the pedo bears out there. And the pedo bears, they ruin it for everybody, don't they? But so looking at it from that point of view, you can see why Nintendo wants you to have friend codes, because you have to know the person outside of Nintendo before you can add them as a friend through Nintendo. Whether it's you got to talk to them on the phone or through a silly app or somewhere you met online, or you just know each other in person. They should get to know each other that way and then trade friend codes with each other. I mean, even as something as popular as Pokemon Go, which I talk about all the time, and I play all the time, you basically have to know the person or contact them outside of Nintendo, completely out of Nintendo's scope. You can't just like play them online in a thing and without talking to them or without knowing them, send them a friend request. That is not something that they do. Now that was capable on the Wii through third-party things. Like I played Call of Duty all the time on the Wii, and when they added voice chat, that was amazing. And I had strangers that I never met that I became friends with, through playing them on Call of Duty on Wii. And a lot of people would be like, really? You could do that with the Wii? Yeah, well, I mean, if you were a part of that scene, then yeah, you would know that. But a lot of people didn't know that. A lot of people thought that, Nintendo was still stuck with this primitive friend codes thing. And yes, it is primitive. And there's reason for that. So before we get into any of this, that's why I'm bringing this all up, talking about history and talking about the trademark Nintendo's way of doing things. I mean, Nintendo couldn't just make a racer when everybody else was. They had to make a kart racer with weapons and craziness. And, they couldn't just make a fighter that was one-on-one like everybody else was doing. They had to make a 4-player fighting game with Smash Brothers. They couldn't just make a shooter that was about violence and chaos. No, they made Splatoon with, gyro control, and it was paint guns, basically. Nintendo has their way of doing things. They always have to do it. Everybody goes, well, why don't they just add voice chat? Well, why don't they just, make it to where, because they're not going to. Which is the second part of why they do the things that they do, the way they do it, is because, the first part is that it's the Nintendo way trademark, Well, that's the second thing that I'm saying. But the first thing is that they don't want liability, and the second thing is that they just like to do things their own way, no matter how goofy it may seem like on the outside. Everybody else is looking at it and going, "What? Why don't they just do Xbox Live?" Now, if a company wants to make a game that's online for Nintendo Switch outside of Nintendo's own network, or if they do it through Nintendo's network, but they do it in their own way, they could make an app. I mean, we have the Nintendo Switch Online app, which, if you think about it, is kind of like Discord in a way. And Discord was made for connecting with people and chatting with them in all sorts of ways. And the nice thing about Discord is each channel, you could change your name in different ways. That way, if multiple users are using the phone, although that's kind of goofy, but if multiple users are using the account, or they're using it for different games, like you might want to play this person in this game, but you don't want to play them in another game, or you don't want them to know that you play that game, or there's privacy, and Nintendo has a little element of that, plus the whole, you have a separate app that's running this, and you have to know that person outside of Nintendo's own scope in order to add them. Now, Discord, there's a lot more anonymity and strangers, and I'm sure there's pedo problems there too, but that's all on Discord. And some people say, well, why not just make a Discord app for the Switch? Switch doesn't even have, I don't even think it has Netflix right now. These are ideas that are out there. I think that there should be a Switch Online, but as you can see, and when I was doing research for this more, because I don't use this. I've used it maybe a couple times with Animal Crossing, and it worked, and it was good. It's like, might as well use Discord, or you might as well call a person on the phone if you know them, because, you do know them, because you have to know them outside of, in order to communicate, hey, this is my ticket to fly to my town on Animal Crossing, or hey, this is my friend code on Smash Brothers, or, this, that, and the other. But third parties could make their own apps, but they're not going to. I mean, why do that when with Xbox Live, all they have to do is just flip some switches when they develop stuff, and it's already on Microsoft servers and or their own servers, and boom, they're done. Now, I have gotten out of the Monster Hunter scene, and that is definitely an online heavy game. I know on the Wii, I was able to plug in my USB keyboard and be able to type to people. Or I could use the Wii Speak, although that was kind of awful for Monster Hunter, because it was just a bunch of people rapping and screaming at the top of their lungs into the Wii Speak. And that's another thing. Nintendo did that their own way. They didn't make just a microphone. They made a room microphone with Wii Speak. I mean, it's their way of doing goofy things. So, but in doing research for this topic, I looked up on Nintendo's official YouTube. Can't do the search through here, but you can see Nintendo's own stuff here. When I did the search, I did a Nintendo Online app. So, and here it is. They have the overview trailer, and it's pretty funny. If you click on that, then everybody has thrown a bunch of hate at Nintendo for their Nintendo Online service. I think the service is great, not for communication. Certainly not. I am kind of aggravated with that. But the games that are on there, basically for free to play, I know, quote unquote free, because you're paying for the service. And that's another thing that people gripe about with Nintendo Online, is that it used to be free and you get what you pay for, and you just, oh well. Now there's millions of people subscribing to this, mainly probably because of Animal Crossing, but there's still, the growth is unbelievable. So Nintendo must be doing something right. And I know what you're gonna get. You're gonna say is like this. Yeah, that's the only thing that they're doing, and everybody's gonna quit off there. No, I don't think so. I think they're gonna add more services to it as time goes on, and hopefully open things up more. But we'll see. So, so what I'm trying to look for with this is, they had the video on here before. Boy, oh boy, where is it? Wow, it was on here before. But basically, I typed in Nintendo Online app, and that came up from a month ago. But let's say here, see here, a lot of these videos are from 3 years ago when they're talking about the app itself, how it works, and blah blah blah. Nintendo really hasn't done much with it. I mean, when Animal Crossing came out, there is some typing features with that. There is the voice chat, and then there's, some other goofy stuff that you can do with that, which, makes it its own individual thing to, but you can't really control the game, and you might as well be in the game to play it as opposed to doing the stuff on the app. I know that some people like to do loadouts for some apps for certain games on other platforms or whatever, and that's something that's an option. And I know Reggie, before he was gone from Nintendo, he was asked why are you guys doing it this way with apps, and the idea was that you could update the app more often, but the app has not really been updated all that much. And I was looking through here and I'm like, Nintendo hasn't even made a new video about the app. So this gets into the next part of the video, which is the rumors. Now, the rumors are that Nintendo is going to revamp their online service. Now, I don't want to talk about all the aspects of online because, again, this is we're just talking about voice chat. Is that something that's going to be added? Now, when they talk about this on here, this is Reddit and gaming leaks and rumors and stuff, so none of this is any kind of truth. But there's barely anything about them. They're talking about revamping it, but they don't really say revamping how you communicate with people, how you do voice chat, how you do chat at all. And that's something that needs to be fixed with Nintendo Online. They either need to open up about, strangers meeting each other and being able to meet each other through the online app. I personally, this is a personal gripe, but I am friends with someone who, personally, I know her in real life. And we had made friends on Mitomo. I think it was called Mitomo. I love that little app. And then they got rid of it. It was way better than a social network, in my opinion. You use your Mii's or whatever, and you're on your phone, and you could actually ask people questions, but in a Nintendo sort of way. A very friendly, very nice way, and it wasn't a bunch of politics and complaining and stuff. But they canceled it. But we were friends on there, and that gave me the option to make her friends on 3DS, and then later on the Switch. Because, since she was a part of that, then she was on my friends list, and it carried over. But I can't communicate with her. I see her playing games when I'm playing my Switch. It's saying that she's playing Fortnite or something. I don't play Fortnite. So, and even if I did, I couldn't, connect with her playing Fortnite. She could see that I'm playing Fortnite, and I could see that she was playing Fortnite, but she would have to call me. Here's the thing. I had her number, but she moved or something happened, and I think she changed her number, so I can't text her or call her. And it's like, oh man, how do I even contact her? She's clearly on my friends list still on Nintendo Online, but I can't even send her a message. And Nintendo has made it to where there would be messages that you could send through Street Pass. Now, Street Pass is an awesome thing. They were open for doing that, but yet they closed off other online aspects. These were people that you just met or didn't even meet. You were just walking past them. This is something that they should totally add to the Switch, especially for the portability. Especially something like Switch Lite, like Street Pass. They should bring that back. The Street Pass games were fun. The Street Pass Plaza was cool. And if you walk past the person enough times, that's how I met one of my best friends back then. Was I met them through that. I just, I didn't know who it was because they were just walking into the store that I work. And we both had our 3DSs on us all the time, and we exchanged enough. But they like I said, Nintendo does it their own way. You can't directly chat with them, especially if they were a stranger. So they allowed you to say hello, or or some other goofy pre-made message, right? I can't even do that with the Switch Online with this friend of mine who obviously is still playing and is obviously still on my friends list. But anyways, going back to the Street Pass, after a few times of passing the person, I guess Nintendo opened it up to where you could actually send them a personalized message. And I did. I said, nice pigtails, because her Mii character had pigtails. And wouldn't you know, this girl found me through my username through that. I mean, she did a bit of stalking, but, and then we became really good friends. I met her in person. This was not the usual type of thing, and certainly this would be outside of what Nintendo would want to happen, especially if there was children involved. I mean, they don't want, but it's not like I had personal information on my thing, and they tell you not to do that. So they're not liable for that, but still though, that's one of those things that probably scares the crap out of Nintendo. They don't want to be seen as like some harbor for pedo stuff. I'm sure they've had problems with Pokemon in the past, and Smash tournaments and all this other stuff, and you get the wrong people in the wrong room together, and there's going to be problems. They don't want to be harbingers of that. So you're looking through this stuff. I'm sorry, I'm not even really giving you anything visual to look at while I do this, but supposedly there is rumors going around, and it still hasn't happened. So I don't think it's going to. Not to the effect that they're saying here, that there was going to be a revamp for the Nintendo Switch Online, NSO. I don't think it's going to happen the way they are presenting it. And certainly they didn't say much about contacting people or friends, or how to make friends, or how to chat with them or do voice chat. Nothing about that. But when looking at this rumor of them revamping the online, and then applying that to the fact that they really haven't updated the Nintendo Switch Online app is any meaningful way in a while, and they haven't even given any kind of updates or any kind of videos on their YouTube channel about how they update this video every once in a while when they take a game off, like they took off the Mario 35 and they had it on the Pac-Man 99, like they had the Tetris 99, which is awesome and fun, by the way, and that's totally worth the Nintendo Online membership, in my opinion. That, playing games online, and the other such stuff, certainly not good enough for the chat and being able to communicate with your friends, or all that. That's a problem. But other than that, it's great. But then there's the other rumor. Well, not really a rumor. It's confirmed. It's a real thing. When the Nintendo Switch had the 12.0 update, now everybody's heard about this and talked about this to death. Oatmeal Dome, who does like Switch hacking and data mines of updates that they have. This is a big thing in the Pokemon Go community, or Pokemon community in general, and it's becoming a big thing with Nintendo and pretty much all things video games. People will take the code and break it down and try to see where this is going and what's going to happen. And as you can see, it says through Switch Brew, Yellow's 8 and Oatmeal Dome, they're talking about how it added audio support for the Bluetooth driver. So Bluetooth is in the Switch. It's in there. So they could have, a voice chat app, or per game, they could have voice chat just built into that. You don't even need your phone. You don't need a dongle. You don't need, they could just flip the switch and turn that on. And they have, seemingly. But nothing has come of it. Nothing really substantial has come of it. And I think what has gone on is that they're probably thinking, how are we going to roll this out? They secretly rolled out the Marico chip with Switch, and they're probably going to secretly roll out future upgrades too with the Switch. And maybe they're just going to kind of roll this out and go, okay, third parties, you wanted this, have at it. You can do it. And wouldn't you know, a third party was the first to start talking about this with Fortnite. It says Fortnite tweeted this a week ago as well, specifically talking about the Switch. I don't know if it's related at all, though. But it says this issue is resolved. Nintendo Switch players should be able to use voice chat and hear audio while using Bluetooth again. Now, see, I don't know if this was... It says Bluetooth audio. Maybe this hasn't, in like Oatmeal Dome says himself, I'm not sure if it's actually using this new support so far. No guarantees it will ever be used either. Now, is this just for audio so that you could hear the game through Bluetooth? Or is this for communication? And if it is for communication, was what they were saying on the Fortnite Twitter, were they talking about voice chat coming through Bluetooth, or were they just talking about being able to use Bluetooth headphones to hear the game? We don't know, and we really won't know until Nintendo just rolls this stuff out more, or announces it and says, hey, yeah, as part of the Nintendo Switch Online, it's growing. Now we have opened up and tested, and we're, I don't know if they're going to get rid of the app or make it to where the app is for kids, or make it to where, like, you can still use the app to do voice chat, but for third-party games, they can open up voice chat straight from the system. Who knows? We don't know. There's certainly ideas that I've already presented, and there's certainly things to talk about still. But I wanted to make this video so that people could see why, going through a little bit of history of why Nintendo does this, because of them wanting to, speaking of Discord, them wanting to do it their own way. And also, so that they're not liable, they have it to where you have to meet somebody outside of their network, so that they're not liable for, whatever is said and done between you, you and your friends, or soon-to-be enemies, or strangers, or whoever you may be. However you interacted when you first met, it has to be outside of Nintendo. Which is kind of funny because, like I said, there has been loopholes before in the past. Some I think are good, and obviously some are ones that they want to forget about, like the PictoChat thing. I mean, look it up. There is somebody who actually was just going around seeing if little kids were on their PictoChat and sending them dirty drawings and dirty messages or whatever. Or trying to find out where they were. I mean, that's the nature of the world. We're heading towards hell in a handcart. But I just wanted to get this video out there so that people could see, or at least discuss myself, why Nintendo does things the way they do it. It would be, in a perfect world, it would be nice if they just open up the voice chat and says, hey, now all online games, you can communicate with your friends directly by sending them a message and then connecting through voice chat. There'll be a new app that's on the actual Switch itself that runs in the background, and you could, communicate with each other just like you could with Xbox Live, cross-game, I mean, that's a possibility. But that's I don't know. I think they want to have another layer of protection before they were to open it up like that. And then me personally, I would love them to add that, but also on top of that, add something like Street Pass, which is, you know, more than just chatting and outside of what I'm talking about in this video. But still, though, I think Street Pass would kind of show, oh, they're opening back up to the idea of, you know, people meeting through Nintendo, even though, you know, technically they probably don't want to present it that way, but that's how the community would see it. Certainly I made a couple of friends through Street Pass, and I think Street Pass was one of those killer app features. I really do believe that when it comes to the 3DS, and they could totally add that to the Switch. I mean, they should add it to the Switch. But we'll see as time goes on. And like I said, I want to make more of these kind of videos before E3. And I'll probably be making more of them after E3 because, you know, if certain things don't happen, then I'm sure we'll need to talk and say, hey, this is why I think this happened and this did not happen and blah, blah, blah. But also, I don't think that this is something that could happen with the current Switch. They don't need a whole new Switch for this, I don't believe. Certainly it would take some resources from the CPU to have an app running in the background for voice chat directly on the system itself through Bluetooth. But that's something that, you know, can be handled. I mean, if the Wii could do it, if the 3DS could do it, if the DS could do it, if the Wii U could do it, I don't see why the Switch couldn't do it. And the lack of them updating in any kind of super or meaningful way, or any kind of like even telling people anything about the app, which I thought, you know, when they updated the Nintendo Online videos, every time that something changed or added, that they updated their video for the app. But like I said, that the videos are all 3 years old for that, and there's nothing new about that. They turned off the comments for that, and it's almost like, not like they want to sweep it under the rug, but it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, they know it's not a big deal. They wanted it to be a big deal, but they know it's not working the way that they wanted. Even me, as a Nintendo, like, fanatic, I don't even really use it. And I think it's a good idea, and there's certainly some Discord-like aspects to it that I think could have worked, but again, they kind of, they're behind, obviously, with voice chat and with chatting in general. And it's because of, like I said in this video. So I've already beaten this into the ground, but thanks for watching, and comment on any my videos for Nintendo's future. I got speculation videos under Nintendo Agenda on my channel, and I'll be making more of these. Not too sure exactly what the next video will be about. I guess I did talk a lot about online outside of just the voice chat, so I probably leave the online alone on the next video. But certainly there's some promising things and some rumors and speculation and ideas that I have for Nintendo's future software and hardware. So thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next video.